may be working on dropping Russian sanctions, possibly along with the Trump Tower Moscow guys. Manafort was giving polling data, internal polling data from the campaign, to a guy in Russian intelligence, who he was then asking to pass it on to a Russian oligarch close to Putin. The Russian lawyer from the Trump Tower meeting has been criminally indicted in the United States for lying about the fact that she represents the Russian government. The Democrats that just took over
What
the
now?
House of Representatives are getting up on their hind legs and trying to stop the Trump administration from dropping sanctions on companies owned by the pro-Putin oligarch.
Yeah. Yeah. Glad you didn't leave that part out, Rachel. Huh. Good timing. Good timing as far as what happened to be on the Maddow video that I accidentally forgot and left playing there. Sorry about that. Oh, look. Fancy studio time. Doesn't that look professional? I think that looks professional. No, not really. It's covering up the tape cross. Because, it's been there for fucking 7 years now. For those of you who are new to the channel, my kids put some tape from some boxes that we moved in on the wall, and I went and tried to peel it off, and it just started taking them all with it. So from that point on, we've had this thing right where I happen to sit. So this isn't intentional decoration. This is just the inadvertent tape cross, or tape crux in Latin. Oh, wait, no. Anyways, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are, and welcome back to this little place, oh mine. The Easy Reefers Fish Room. Here at the channel formerly known as The Lost Forgotten. Because, well, they found me. Unfortunately, the wrong they seems to have found me. Howdy, howdy. Welcome, whoever's here. Thanks for the like. Likes are less meaningful as far as, ratings around here goes. It's just likes are how you let me know that you're a real person. So, um, some paralegal really fucked up here. According to Kira, that there will most likely be some poor paralegal who just turns up missing. Just they never see or hear from her, or maybe him. Probably her again. Because, the paralegaling part is like the real work. So it's usually women that do it. Just saying. Like real office work is usually done by women. Men don't stand a chance. We tell ourselves we go out and work in the fields and build houses and the chemical plants and moving shit around and building shit because it's hard work. No, it's because we can figure it out. And it's not that women can't develop engineering or carpentry skills. Oh, no, that's not the case. It's just that most of them are too busy taking care of men. Yeah, I think my wife's giggling in her sleep right now. See, one of the themes of this channel has always been chivalry is lost. And I think Terry Bradshaw is a surprisingly wise man. He's gone on this kick about hypermasculinity and the damage it's doing to society. He's almost there. We really need to realize what it means that chivalry is lost. Not just like, but I still open a door for a woman if I dare come in, she's not too far behind me. You know, like, that's not what it means. Okay. Now, I know that this design that I'm about to show probably seems too ugly for anybody to want to steal. But this is a very functional design, and I intend to build it even if I have to one-off this bitch out of some other fucking parts. I'm gonna prototype this out. I'm gonna build a truck that can do this. And bear with me. I'm teaching a lesson here. Okay. I'm not just going on one of my tangents where I'm like, oh, look at this thing I drew. Okay. I'm explaining why the enlightened male should tend to have that tendency. Oh. See this here? This is my like Honda truck, Honda truck. Okay. Now, this is a semi truck. Okay. This is this fucking thing that I'm kind of designing here. Okay. And it's got two motors in the back, because by putting the weight in the back and by moving the cab to the center and by putting a very Honda-like front end on a semi-truck, you stop killing babies and entire fucking families in one fucking accident. It's more fuel efficient too. It's more reliable. It's got a better visibility. You know, better view. It's got better visibility. I didn't need a in there. Every now and again you have a little extra in life, but you know, that wasn't the time for that. Getting distracted by how goofy my face looks on camera, sorry. Safer, more fuel efficient, cleaner, does not kill entire families at once. Even when this thing T-bones, it keeps the driver safe. Okay? When men design things, when men build things, the best work they do is when they do so to impress women. And not just like a woman, not just to get women in the sack or a woman in the sack or something like that. Right? Women as a whole, you know? Because to be attractive, to be really attractive to one woman, you have to be attractive to all women and make that one woman feel like, even though I'm attractive to all of these women, I just want you, baby, you know? That's what every woman really wants anyways. I don't know if you realize that, guys. But they want a woman, and they want a man who can take care of shit, okay? And men being over masculinized, that's V8s, that's big smokestacks, and women who are sort of falling into the trap of willful over-sexualization are the ones that tend to be impressed by that. But the women who are actually planning, you know, like a fucking family and a life and shit, they see the guy with the Honda Accord hybrid and they're like, I wonder what he does for a living, you know? Meanwhile, they see the guy with the Mustang doing a burnout, and they're like, I hope he fucking hits a pole and dies. And he can go, you know, get all the toothless meth pussy he wants. Meanwhile, the quality women want engineers and architects and inventors and business managers and teachers and philosophers and writers and people who see whatever spectrum of talents that they have and find a way to apply it to better society. Okay? That's a truck. Okay? You know, like I design sports cars and stuff like that. I've never put so much thought and work. Like, I'm just sitting there planning this out in my head and realizing this is going to take fucking 8 pages because I'm going to design the entire frame up from this thing. How this thing crashes as opposed to the... I mean, this is YouTube. Y'all watch crash videos? 18-wheelers tend to fuck some shit up. And it's just like, oh, that whole family's dead. You know, like, this is just one big crumple zone technology, kind of. It's just all designed to fold up and bend back up and keep everybody safe. And kind of moves cars out of its way what it can, and as opposed to the whole giant steel frame with the giant engine in the front with the giant bumpers just flattening the first fucking car it hits, and then, you know, I think we can do better than that, you know? But I've been getting, I don't know what kind of recommendations y'all get. I've been getting these recommendations from these videos with these giant the truck of the future. And even the robotic trucks just look like murder death traps waiting to fucking happen. We can do this better. And if you think for a second though, the cargo industry needs to be unmanned. You're literally talking about making a country one hack away from being completely invadable. Okay? You don't want your entire supply chain prone to hacking. Not the entire supply chain. The entire supply chain, really? Those moments when you just realize and just still question, is there something I'm missing? Or are people really that fucking dumb? I hope that this stupid fucking nonsense that these dumbass nobody paid shill actors that get to run YouTube and fucking put everybody who's actually got something to say, or some talent or something. These just organizations of compilations of nonsense just fucking flooding YouTube all the goddamn time. Like fucking Chinese people or some sort of Asian people reading scripts in American accents, but obviously they don't fucking really speak English. And it's always some top 10 or the 10 most or the 10 craziest. But anyways, I've been designing a lot of stuff around basically a modular building business. Okay, I've got my little idea on how it should be done. A lot of people have their ideas on how it should be done, but one thing I'm gonna need is some fucking 18-wheelers eventually. And I've been just watching every little video that comes up that's related to construction and stuff like that, and more have been coming up, and then RV videos because I like RVs. These trucks of the future all have that same weighted to the front, big head of a penis kind of fucking feel to them, okay? That does not crash well. It might be fuel efficient and technologically advanced and might make your little, ego feel better about how much debt you racked up for your fucking engineering degree, but when it all comes down to it, your design is completely fucking useless. Okay? And none of these designs, they put millions into all these designs. Every single one of these designs I've seen, except for like the Mercedes, like the ones that are built by actual truck companies, none of them will ever go into production. Mercedes, the one they show with Mercedes, yeah, it's a fucking truck. It's a real truck. It's made by real truck people. But it's still a fucking baby killer. But, the Germans don't believe in, truck driving mistakes. So. I don't know. I suppose that's their way of thinning the herd. I don't know. Alright, I have to take a walk outside right quick. I will be right back in like 30 seconds. Ow. Need more cigarettes. Okay. So, you see narcissism and ambition and greed and the whole patting yourself on the back for your skill as a designer. Stop letting designers design things. Let a mechanic, a crime scene investigator, and a Copart junkyard technician design your 18-wheeler. Oh wait, I'm a little bit of amateur of all three. That's probably why my truck is pretty good. You know, fuel efficiency is great. That's a good way to be chivalrous. Yeah, design something fuel efficient. That's chivalry. You wanna know why? You wanna know why that impresses all women? Because you're protecting every woman's possible children. That's, science. It's called planning. A little bit of vision even. Oh, God forbid. But that's, I know I talk about a lot about how I like Honda so much. Even that front end angle that I adopted to the front of that truck, I kind of borrowed from Honda because of the research they put into that angle on the front of their vehicles as being the easiest for pedestrians to roll off of with minimal injuries. And on the when you're learning how to sell a Honda, one of the things they teach you is like, this is the government, international, and industry standard of how this should work, and here's what we've learned that's better. It meets and exceeds these standards, and we do this to all of our cars, except for the blah 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 and blah blah blah, which I think was the Pilot and the Ridgeline at the time. But like that pickup truck, you can that pickup truck that I designed that kind of looks like the new Pilot and Ridgeline, you can kind of merge the CRV safety in the front, the crumpleability, and the pedestrian safety into that. And then it makes it even more fuel efficient. And then, when you fuck up, you don't kill people. That just seems like a good thing to me. I don't know if, maybe my priorities are screwed. But, I don't know, what people fuck up. Because I don't fuck up while I drive, but sneezing while you're doing your makeup and the powder goes in your face, I don't know, hey, that's not just for women. That's for Fox News hosts. Oh, okay, anyways. They probably drive big pickup truck. No, they don't. They just pretend to be manly men. They don't even hold up to the level of scrutiny of real posers. Anyways. So, When they first said Manafort was going to be Trump campaign advisor, Trump manager, the Trump campaign manager, back in, what was it, June 2016, back during the primaries. He'd already been the campaign manager for a couple of weeks before I found out, I think it was. All I could say was, well, they're gonna fucking try to steal the election, aren't they? Because Manafort did two different things over the course of his career. This is what I talked about back then. This is all becoming relevant now. That's why I'm bringing it up again. And, you know, just letting you know what channel you're watching, you know. Right. I know. Well, he worked for the Republicans here in the States. Worked for, I think, the Reagan campaign. I think he worked for Nixon back in the day. I'm not sure. I think he worked against Carter, for whoever ran against Carter. But anyways, it was mostly Republican campaigns in the 80s and I think early 90s. But in the early 90s was when he started helping political campaigns in other countries. And was doing so exclusively throughout the 2000s. And apparently this included a lot of different friends of Vladimir Putin, including the person of particular, the campaign of particular interest to mine, Viktor Yanukovych of Ukraine, Russia's anti-European Union puppet. Now, the Russians had seemed to be on a path of, as I said, knowing our political system better than we know it ourselves. Okay? And I wasn't sure how they got that way, but I could see through my pattern analysis that this was the case. Okay? But I didn't know until I knew Manafort's history. Oh, man. They got the right guy for the job. That's exactly how they got such perfect fucking information on the exact political pulse of America. And when it came to the district by district results, the way the fucking popular vote was precisely overturned by the Electoral College. They knew exactly where and when to hit us, as it were. I knew it was Manafort's experience with the Republican campaigns and his association with the Russian oligarchs that was allowing him to know exactly where to send the troll armies and where to send the money. Okay? Where they needed to bribe campaign officials here and there to make votes disappear. Where they needed to bribe a sheriff here and there to keep black people at home. Just here and there, just a little fucking bit at a time, and they swung the whole goddamn election against against 3 million. A margin of 3 million. Not a fraction of a percentage point, multiple percentage points. I think, wasn't it? Like 2.3% or some shit like that. And I just want to point out how it seems to have been the universe and circumstance that brought us this new revelation. You know, nature, random things. Forgetfulness is one of those things. Mistakes. Oh, it's a perfectly natural thing to make a mistake. But I've been saying for a long time, these Google Satanist conspiracy freaks, and I don't mean the ones talking about the conspiracies, I mean the ones engaged in it. The ones coordinating all the conspiracy theorists to distract and brainwash people against their own government. They're all risking jail on the idea that none of their fellow fuckers are ever going to make any mistakes. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but most people are really fucking dumb. And you're relying on a lot of people to not make mistakes to keep your asses out of jail. So the best thing for you to do would probably be to call up Mueller and say, I have a confession to make. How many Hail Marys do I have to do? So, some recently deceased paralegal, recently missing paralegal, poor, unfortunate, drunken paralegal, compiled a PDF document as their, I forget what kind of fucking statement, but a court filing, a court filing. In Manafort's, I think it was the Southern District of New York case. And, on a paper document, they just take a marker and they fucking black it out, and, they let the ink soak in real good on the sensitive words, and the ink merges with the other ink, and unless you're using two really different types of ink, no one's ever going to be able to tell what's on the other side of that marker, because it all just becomes mush together, It's not just a matter of writing over it, it's a matter of solvents. Well, nowadays, apparently, because there's no paper fucking filings, they do it all electronically, apparently. Which I kind of knew secondhand from my wife. They do a lot of the electronic filing shit out here, even. So yeah, up in DC and in New York, I guess it's all electronic. But anyways, if you've ever made a PDF, there's the black highlighter function. Okay. But when you use that to redact, when you use that to, make something unreadable, there's a certain way you have to save it to where it's not editable, to where somebody can't just take it off of there or move it up and down and try to see what's behind there, right? Well, they fucked up And this one page, I think, seems to have been just one page, wasn't saved in the proper format, and they could move the black line up and down and see exactly what it said underneath the black line. And what it said was that Manafort had supplied a friend of Oleg Deripaska, okay, with a note to give it to Oleg Deripaska, a bunch of data from the Republican National Convention. Local, specific, county by county polling data that Russia would then use to assist them in Trump's coup. Now, in addition to this, you have this interesting filing by Mueller in a Natalie Vetselnitskaya case from 2015 regarding money laundering, regarding some friend that's like another like loose business tie of Trump's and these same fucking oligarchs, right? But that's not the point. The point was how much this filing in this case specifically laid out Natalie Vetselnitskaya's identity as a Russian agent. Not merely some lawyer who happened to be from Russia, but an actual agent of the Kremlin. And this is crucial in determining whether or not the Trump campaign was collusive with Russia and defrauding the United States. Because their whole defense centered around the idea that she was just, some random Russian lawyer who wanted to talk about Russian adoption and shit, right? And then even when it came about the sanctions, it was only because she was a concerned citizen, and yeah, so of course, well, the sanctions would affect the adoption. Jeez. But as interesting as that is, the real smoking gun here, what's going to sink in, what's going to dominate the conversation, what Trump is going to have to do something crazy all over again just to distract from, is this fucking polling data that Manafort done sent to the Russians. Didn't attempt to send it. No. Didn't try to send it and fail. Didn't get caught in the act of sending it. No. He sent it. They used it. It helped win the election for Donald Trump. They fed them targeting data for their attack. They acted as spotters in the psychological warfare campaign against this country. What the? Oh, I get it. Anyways. So, what's interesting about this is that now they've gotten half the puzzle. Will they get the other half? Or do I need to remind them that I seem to have figured all this crap out long before they had a clue of any of it? You know? Like, do you think Paul Manafort was laundering all that money to buy himself nice ties and shit? Do you think the money spent on those suits was actually the money in question? The money spent on those suits wasn't as much as the money those suits could hold. And you know, it's hard to say you're bribing somebody when you just buy them a nice suit to go somewhere. And if that suit should be happen to be filled with money. You'd be surprised how much money you could fit in a necktie. Certainly a lot more money than the necktie's worth. Even if it's a very expensive necktie. But even more convenient than clothing as sort of a brown paper bag. If, say, you happen to, through Russian intelligence, know the owner of the clothing store that you're buying that shit from, well, those expensive prices start to make a lot of sense. What a wonderful way to make a bunch of money just disappear. You might have the receipts they printed Paul Manafort just kind of failing to match up with the company records. And then the difference just floated around in the abyss, waiting to be used as bribes. But I don't know. I don't know if they'd have had to gone that far and do anything that obvious. But I do think clothing was basically just the newspaper I had to borrow when I went to pick up my weed. Got him a nice suit. Suit isn't worth enough money for anybody to question. But there's 50 grand in each one of the 4 inside pockets. And $250,000 in the pants. Like, the fuck did he need all that shit for? Seems to me like he was gift shopping. That's a fuck up time to be gift shopping. Supposedly in debt to the oligarchs? Fuck no. He's been working for them and with them the whole damn time. When he was working in this country for the Republicans, did he serve to corrupt their political process and their tactics? Did he make them more like Nixon or less like Nixon? Did he follow good examples or bad examples? Did he and his ilk help bring about the Fox News evangelical movement? Or were they voices of reason? You see, I'm willing to bet that he was one of them people that thought politics should be played as dirty as it fucking had to be. And that's if I just consider him to be a loyal American. You see, one of the ways you can take down your enemies is by being a friend that they don't need. Dingo. That's enough. Anyways. 2 points for Hufflepuff. So, who's watching? I had a couple people earlier. They seem to stay long enough to make a strategic assessment. Like when I see a pattern of that 1-2 user, and like, at this point, how much would a limited number of people be able to do to suppress a large number of people without getting caught? And, you know, this includes having that whole faking of results, faking of readout data. How long do you have to do that versus how long do you need to listen to someone to try to get the idea of what they're saying in a sufficient enough way to report to your superiors? You know, what do those watch patterns look like as opposed to somebody interested or somebody trying to be supportive or, you know, somebody who actually wants to hear the wisdom and insight of the most wise and insightful fucking person on this platform full of dumbasses. You know, it's not saying much, but it's true. Anyways. Speaking of me being wise and insightful, I thought of like a thing. Yeah. I mean, I found something profoundly interesting. In fact, I think I have some other interesting things that I made like little one-word notes in the corner of my drawing earlier. Yeah, there we go. What do we have? Beto and trash wall. Okay, yeah. I don't know what that means, but I'll figure it out. But I was fucking watching something earlier. And shit, I forget what I was gonna fucking say. Stop staring at me. You're making me nervous. Let's look at the Christmas lights that are still on for no reason. I got distracted by Beto and the trash wall, and now like my mind is blown. What the fuck does that mean? Shouldn't have read that. I should have stayed on task. I should have, but I didn't. And of course, there's not enough people in the chats to be like, this dumbass. It was oh yeah, that's what it was. It was a random little realization that just seems all too fucking simple. I was watching, oh, there it is, yeah. Lewis Black's Taxed Beyond Belief from back in the 90s. And I realized Republicans learned how to people by watching that fucking comedy right there. Because essentially, like, the Republican politicians are all a bunch of stuffed shirt fucking tax trading, fucking banking, business fucking money grubbing assholes, okay? And they don't have any idea of how to put things into like a normal fucking decent human being's perspective, okay? But Lewis Black keeps on talking about 6,000 fucking pages of tax code. I'm like, oh, that's where they got the line. Oh, damn it, Lewis. And the whole video, it's sort of like a Republican strategy session. Lewis Black did not intend it in this way. Oh, I'm sure of this. But I can see, like, I can see Lindsey Graham just being like, look at this. You know, he's got a point. You know, I do declare. And then them sort of fucking formulating their strategy against taxes and shit like that. We gotta find ways to simplify what we're saying. 6,000 pages. That's too complicated. It's too much. That's too hard. Well, maybe taxes is complicated. You ever think of that? Like, how many different fucking things do taxes cover? A lot of things. 6,000 pages sounds about fucking right. Do taxes cover 6,000 things or so? Huh. So we're just making moron arguments. So morons will listen. Build a wall. Because immigration reform has too many syllables. Yet they're the ones who say, you need to learn English. Anyways. Every day that fucking goes by, it's just a little more hard to believe that they've tolerated this fucking asshole. Like, at the point where he's just called the press the enemy of the people, impeached. Like, there's just so many points where it just should have been impeached. Like, you don't fucking tolerate that from government officials at all. And you're gonna let the president act like that? President's supposed to be, you know, the president of any corporation is supposed to be held to the highest standard. Oh, it just makes me twitch. Anyway, so who's watching? What the hell do you want to talk about? Because I'm done. I'm kind of tired. And it looks like, other than, oh, excuse me, one announcement, Rosenstein's resigning, and Rosenstein fired, and then Rosenstein staying on until the Mueller investigation is complete. And I'm like, okay, so he's resigning, but not yet. Okay. Or now he's going to stay on until the new Attorney General is confirmed. or the Mueller probe is complete, whichever comes first. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think anybody fucking knows. I don't even think he knows at this point. I could just picture him like, that's it. I've had enough of this shit. I'm fucking quitting. I'm fucking quitting. I made it. And then he just locks his office into his room and just fucking just drinks some scotch with his fucking hands shaking. Just picture Rosenstein. You can fucking picture him do that too. That is just the kind of face that could just maniacally grumble him to himself. Just plot and fucking bitch and fucking curse people out just while just shakily, just continuing to hold the bottle between shots he pours for himself, you know, because he's wearing a suit, so he can't just chug the bottle. Anyways. Ah, fuck. Has there been any chat activity? Some new person heard that before. Okay. Bowens Grove. Alright. Ana Navarro files her nails during border wall debate. That's cute. Oh, CNN. Always got something cute to bring attention to the story that you want people's attention on. As opposed to the story that it fucking should be on. Which is fucking collusion just got fucking busted. Yellow fucking smoking gun. Yellow card. Red flag. Fucking race is over, dude. Get your ass in the fucking pit, pull your car behind the wall, okay? Stick a fork in that motherfucker. He's done. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Not that any of you dumbasses shouldn't have fucking known this the whole time. Russia was attacking the American people to get Trump to win. Then Trump won. Could Trump have won because Russia was attacking the American people? No, cause and effect do not exist anymore. Fuck you. Fucking ineffectual, grabastic dumbasses. You people got all the fucking class and personality of a dead piece of fucking flaked off cunt skin. And no one should ever need lotion that bad. Oh, come on, that was fucking funny. You know, like it's hard to actually picture Trump back when he was a kid and actually being like some sort of, you know, cute baby looking human being thing. You know, you expect to wind back the clock and either find that he was some sort of mutated Cheeto or like some, you know, skin disease of the vaginal region, um, you know, was scratched off and mistaken for a child, and they gave it $1 million to buy properties in New York, and it became Donald Trump. And if only somebody would have given that bitch lotion, that little infected piece of cunt flab never would have become president. Anyways, what's up, Neville? Keeping it classy. We're keeping it classy all the way to Christmas. Again, it's a long way to go, but, you know. Well, the smoking gun has been found. And this particular little rant was because, okay, CNN. What was it? What was it? CNN. Oh, CNN. You know, basically, what Trump wants us to be talking right now is the fucking border wall. He's shut down the government just to get us to make sure, we're fucking talking about the border wall. Okay, don't talk about anything else but the border wall. Border wall now. Border wall. Border wall. Border wall. They just found collusion. Smoking fucking gun, collusion. You're busted. Game over. Should be. If the world had a semblance of sanity. But no, it's the crazy girl on fucking YouTube who thinks she's Jesus. Like, got the little bunny foo-foo ears up way too soon on that one. Oh, crazy should be in quotes anyways. People need me to fucking tell them what sanity is, apparently. When, you know, I used to try to be crazy just for fun. And then I realized, oh, people forgot how to be sane. Just to be boring. Like, what? It doesn't seem like a good trade-off, like people made here. Like how people became this retarded without even enjoying a little acid from time to time. Just, it's beyond me. Ana Navarro files her nails during border wall debate. Okay? Seemingly innocuous little stunt. No, not even seemingly a stunt. Just a seemingly innocuous little cute thing to have happened. You know, anticipating their reaction of, oh yeah, girlfriend had enough, right? But because people have already caught on to the fact that this is what Trump wants us to be talking about, I hope it's not just me who catches on to the fact that CNN is playing out the fake argument. so that the real argument can't actually take place. They always want us to talk about the fake argument. CNN, Fox News, two sides of the same fucking coin. And yeah, a lot of people are onto it. Rachel Maddow was all over it last night. And now this thing came out. The universe has spoken, people. Coincidence and accidents has taken their toll. I made the argument once before, and I made it just a little while ago, about all these people conspiring to suppress me. Basically relying on a whole lot of people to not make mistakes to keep themselves out of jail. And someone made a mistake. Some paralegal who's probably not going to be seen or heard from again. This was a joke my wife told. Failed to redact, or actually, well, didn't properly redact, so people were able to see it anyways, a portion of a PDF that detailed how Paul Manafort had supplied a Russian oligarch with details about the 2016 campaign, including district by district polling data, like actual, like, inside Republican National Convention data that they would keep secret from anyone. They gave it to the Russians. He gave it to the Russians, the head of the Trump campaign. So, what was it they were saying about no collusion? That's by fucking definition the very collusion we were looking for, folks. How did they specifically target, district by district, the areas that would ultimately win by some weird fucking fluke of the Electoral College against a margin of 3 million for Hillary Clinton? And make no mistake, that wasn't all in California, okay? There were surprising turnouts for Hillary Clinton in places that you wouldn't expect it. But in these key fucking places that he needed to win for his electoral strategy, he just pulled off fucking miracles, man. Now, they needed this for two things. One was to coordinate the troll campaign, to coordinate the hacking, to coordinate the Russian part of this. And the other was so they could get the bribes and shit where they needed to get. Because, you know, Manafort couldn't go by himself and fucking bribe everybody in person. Anyways, I wonder what kind of little different organizations and charities these door-to-door bribesters pretended to be from. I'm sure it mirrored Ukraine in a lot of different ways. But I'm sure they had like a seemingly innocent American way of doing it, you know? One that could cause effective enough confusion should any of them get arrested or even questioned by law enforcement. Anyways. So, yeah. Now, Mnuchin, can't believe he's still fucking there. I didn't even fucking realize he was still there. Didn't think there was anybody left. The Treasury Secretary for Trump is trying to release the sanctions on Oleg Deripaska's companies. Basically, he wants to lift the Russian sanctions, you know, the other part of that quid pro quo. They help him win the election, they help him get the sanctions. Russians help with the election, Trump helped with the sanctions. It's always been that fucking deal. It was never about a hotel for Hillary Clinton's emails. Okay? It was about power for policy. Like, what kind of petty little fucking things do you think this shit's about? This is about a psychological warfare campaign against the American people in exchange for dominance over them. And more so, the chance to make a private capital power and money, land and property and deal and venture grab, the likes of which probably hadn't been seen since what's his name? Oh shit. Not Yeltsin. Yeltsin? Yeah, Yeltsin. Or Gorbachev even, shit. But in a whole new way. Instead of being a bunch of different companies all going and grabbing up deals and ventures and shit in Russia, it's one company, one family and their friends all grabbing up deals and ventures all over the fucking world. Trump Inc. But that's all right. Let's do this business for business. Let me see if that's one way I can finally solve this problem without using certain other means. I mean, like, I don't know how to convey this to you. This is gonna happen one way or the other. Okay. Whether or not Revelation 18:24, I think it is, comes true. Basically depends on whether or not I succeed. Okay? Because my success is inversely proportional to the success of the fuckery. And I don't just mean my business in particular. If any business should spring up like the businesses I want to create, they will do the same good that I wish to do. But as the old adage says, if you want something done right, well, don't ask for Russia's help. No. If you want something right, done right, do it yourself. Other than the previous plan of trying to scout easily flooded but otherwise good educational districts, basically places that want to sell land, scout for that. Just keep that in mind. You know, we're going to try to buy land in good school districts, or at least school districts that used to be good, school districts with potential. Okay, but focusing on school district quality, because that's what really sets housing prices when all other factors are equal. Okay. I don't know if that's like uncommon knowledge, but that's the way it is. So what we're going to do is focus on making those areas livable again, where people can actually fucking build lives for themselves without worrying about water taking away their fucking photo albums and shit, you know? Wouldn't that be lovely? And in doing so, we'll basically raise the value of the areas considerably and quickly. So these land grabs will be, needed to be done not monopolistically, but, what we want to do according to our capacity in a given area, we need to try to do all at once, right? And then those communities are going to be the advertising, like billboard, basically, for the pay to order continuation of business. That's going to, mostly be on a B2B basis, done with developers who are going to be, seeing what we did and trying to copy it. You can bet your ass. And that's if the Russians aren't already training people to do the shit right now, Call them their good Republican friends. Who already own half the land I'm trying to buy. Anyways, that's a daunting thought. So there's that, and if you could figure out two matters of trustworthiness, whether or not Intergraph is trustworthy, whether it's still like a viable independent company, or whether it's been like partially bought by the Chinese or something like that. I don't know anymore. I just know I used to go to the office when I was little because my dad worked there in Sydney, Australia, and that's where I saw my first Star Wars movie. It was on the big projection screen in the conference room. So I need to know for more for the sake of eventual plans. Um, like who's a good retail electronic services provider out there, like on a national basis. Um, does Lightspeed? I had to look up just and see if Lightspeed does business out there. I like Lightspeed. Um, but as far as setting up distribution centers and stuff, we're gonna need a computer and inventory network system that's gonna be compatible with ours here, at least on the reporting side, so I can, do conglomerate economic reporting quarterly. Shit, I prefer to do weekly reporting myself. Um, but if you ever heard of Lightspeed POS, the point of sale system that like small automotive dealerships and shit like that can use. I used it in a motorcycle dealership, and what was the other place I used it in? Damn it. When I first started working at the motorcycle dealership, I remembered, but then I spent so long at the motorcycle dealership, I can't remember the previous place. Holy fuck. What was it? Anyways, I use it at a couple places, but mainly the motorcycle dealership. And it's got a very impressive pricing and customer tracking system, and I'm planning on using them for America and Europe. And if they're available out there, that would be a good place to start. Now, they're not like big hot shit. They're the type of place where when you have, um, not necessarily a limit on the dollar amount, you can be doing expensive stuff. Like motorcycle ship was pretty expensive stuff, but as far as like the number of stores, the number of transactions, the number of registered, as long as that's relatively limited, which in my plan it definitely is. Um, it's a good, really basic type service. Um, it's got pretty good customer service, like active technicians who will drive out to you and shit like that. Um, and just the ability to report and the ability, like, I already know how to kind of tweak the system to get extra uses. Uh, like I forget what the specific thing I figured out about it was, but when the need comes along, I'll remember. What was it? It was something regarding using a specific customer type to assist with inventory reporting or sales reporting. Um, as just sort of like was it was either to help with the distribution of profits or to help with PRI and how grant money is distributed and tracked so that its specific use can be justified and you know, like if we get audited, or I think you actually basically send your shit to be audited every year. So um, because I'm planning on doing a lot of stuff that's going to be like for profit but also for the environment, I'm betting and integrating usage of grants into, you know, every aspect of business that I can, and one of those ways is Lightspeed. I think it was that little customer trick that I had figured out, but my brain's not working on that level right now. Mostly due to nutrient depravity. What's with the like two little beardlets? Check that out. There we go. It's an Illuminati beard. No, just my little way of getting back at Pharaoh. What a crock of shit. I'm gonna have to go get cigarettes in the morning. Which means I should probably get to sleep at some sort of, well, I can hardly call it a reasonable hour still. I should probably get some sleep a little, maybe. My body's already feeling funky enough because the past 2 days I've had a sausage biscuit, a little bit of fried chicken, and some chocolate chip cookies. And then a sausage biscuit, a little bit of fried chicken, and some chocolate chip cookies. And you know, while that's keeping me regular and all, it doesn't seem to be allowing me to function properly. I think I'm being preserved right now. Anyways. But I love that chicken from Popeyes. So, short of the scouting and just networking, you know, like who do you know that does construction? Who do you know that's a welder, mechanic, inventory specialist, lawyers, tax attorneys, accountants? Just like maybe make a list. Don't put it on a computer. And just you know, when the time comes, hopefully we'll be able to make a big fucking real estate grab out there. And if you know anybody who's a developer that we can partner up with out there, all the merrier. Because, you know, if I can get with a guy who already knows the whole process out there, I mean, I want to sit there and be like, permits and building codes, but for all I know, there could be all kinds of shit that I don't even know about. Like, you know, fucking kangaroo tax. I don't fucking know. Yeah, you gotta get your kangaroo clearing permit, mate. What? Uh, can I just keep the kangaroos on my property? Are you gonna eat them? No, no. They're adorable. I can't eat a fucking kangaroo. I don't even eat deer. It's like a deer crossed with a bunny. I can't eat that. It's too adorable. I don't care if it can kick my intestines right off of my fucking torso. So, oh, look, that's what my spine looks like, huh? Where'd my belly button go? Yeah, that's all you need, right? Or just keep a billy goat with you and let him go at it. Foster's, Australian for tourist marketing. What? What if we could recarbonize the soil in Central Australia? You need black water. You need a series of bubbled diffusers. Um, from high carbon exhaust, coal burning plants, diesel burning plants. Send a pipe, you know, down into water, make it bubble up. Send that to another pipe, and so on, smaller and smaller diffusion, until you get clean water and clean exhaust. Once the water gets black enough, that should be some seriously, I mean, the only thing is processing the lead out of it. But lead will find its way out of soil eventually. Lead goes down. And it's like the carbon to lead ratio. What I'm talking about isn't growing crops. It's growing trees. New Zealand rare woods. Have a crop the size of New Zealand for each one. Right there in Central Australia, where there ain't shit. And what do you need to do? Till those weeds up and black water the soil. Take sewage waste. Just start fucking pumping it into the middle of the goddamn desert. You want to grow crops? Do that. You want to grow trees for wood? Carbon water. Just sooty fucking black fucking water from industrial use. Blacken up the soil with that. You can grow trees on it. And those trees will be strong wood. So that's what you ought to consider. And I wish I was still on Twitter, because I would be putting that on the Easy Reefers right now and messaging that to all my Great Barrier Reef scientist people. Because Australia could seriously help the Great Barrier Reef. And create about a potential of $18 billion in growth over the next 20 years. And then sustainably. Probably 1.2 billion a year from then on. Just by pumping your shit into the desert. That's how much food, lumber, and additional tourism from the cleanliness. Yes, it would be cleaner to pump your shit into the desert. As well. If you go to Africa, okay, and you pumped all their shit into the Sahara, Do you think anything that made it out, any of the water that made it out, would be shit still? No, it'd be perfectly clean, pure, filtered fucking water. Because that's how nature works. It'll be a biological ecosystem that'll break down and form a nitrogenous, um, you know, plant food just by flowing through sand. And the bacterias and algae and things that grow out of that nitrogenous muck start photosynthesizing. And that brings carbon out of the atmosphere, right down into the ground, into this muck. And that's how soil starts turning black, is over time that gets grown on and then chewed back or tilled maybe or whatever. But similar to the Sahara, much more easy to tackle, and with a smaller, more easily organized population surrounding it, is the arid areas of Australia. Now, combine that initiative with our business plan, or my business plan, which you're going to be, Neville, you still watching? You're going to be in charge of there out in Australia. Um, you might wind up with a means by which Australia can maintain economic independence. In fact, you might even be able to make them somewhat of an economic superpower. Not just by growing New Zealand hardwood, but by knowing what to do with it. But of course, there's plenty of talented carpenters out there. And you know what? Let me tell you this about the whole Jesus was a carpenter thing. They want to say Jesus was some sort of an artisan, inventor, craftsman. It wasn't carpenter. And that's fine. But if it was carpenter, how is that any different? Have you ever met a good carpenter who wasn't basically just an inventor? I got it. I got it. I got it. I'd already stopped myself from making the same joke. Anyways. I'm gonna wind up having to fucking go to Exxon. 4 cigarettes left. This is bullshit. Ah. It's alright, man. I tell you what, does Holden make 18 wheelers? Like, what's the big 18 wheeler manufacturer out there in Australia? He's like, I already know I'm building this. I already know how I'm building this. It's gonna be a stitch welded unibody. Because, well, when you don't have big factory welders, that's the best way to go. Um, but like, I'm gonna design this truck to be repairable as well as being, very crumpleable in accidents. And 18 wheelers are certainly a big industry in Australia. A lot like here. Only, well, Australian trucks are fucking crazy. This might be a possible option. I was toying with the idea of a heavy hauler using 2 turbo diesel 4-cylinders. And then, of course, basically having to baffle the hell out of them and lean them kind of sideways in order to get them low enough to where you could do without any sort of belt drive system, because all the steel ribbing in the world is it gonna haul a fucking 2 trailers of logs. Hey, what's up, man? So what's the biggest manufacturer of the big trucks? Does Holden make those big 18 wheelers? Like, what company would I want to do a deal with? to help manufacture some trucks. Oh, Mack and Cummings are out there too, huh? Well, that's something to think about. I could always just do like I'd prefer to do and try to do a deal with Honda. It's mostly been, Mitsubishi and Toyotas and, I don't know, Nissan kind of. But more Mitsubishi and Toyota's thing to make the bigger trucks. But if an 18-wheeler fleet could reduce their liability, in addition to the fuel savings and everything else, the safer truck. I think that'd be a good marketable thing. I think Honda would be the one to do it. I don't know. Like it's like with the Ridgeline, the Honda Ridgeline, people wanted to like the Ridgeline, just didn't have enough fucking juice. They wanted to like the Ridgeline because it was a Honda. Why it's got to be all funky? I think if Honda made a hauler, I think people would bite. But it's got to be true to Honda. It's got to be an actual Honda. It can't be a Passport. Although, the new Passport is an actual Honda. Yay. Another finger snap works. I got them to bring back the Honda fucking Passport. And that seems like such a stupid thing to most people, but to me that's a major accomplishment. Yeah, the new CRV is a mom's car, which is basically why they made the new Passport. But the CRVs were already headed in that direction. They had already made them heavier with the same fucking motor. Now they made him even heavier, and they got that fucking bullshit turbo motor. Me, I'm a K24 guy. Honda does not need to go turbo. Unless it still gives fucking K as an option. But they went turbo. On just about every damn thing. But I believe you can still get the old K24 in this new Passport. I believe. I'm not sure. But I know they're putting a 6 in it. So you'll have the basically a Honda Pilot with a smaller body, slightly bigger than a CRV, but not as city styled, more basic, and seems to be designed to look good with, you know, off-road lighting and shit like that. Big tires. But if you really want a fucking vehicle that's good for every single day of the week, they get great gas mileage. That's good in the snow, good in the rain. It's got great visibility. It's got a high quality windshield. It's got well mounted headlights. And it's got you can find them in all-wheel drive with a real throttle cable, old school power steering that you can feel. In 2002 to 2004 Honda CRV. I made my whole plan for the night based on the idea that there was a half a pack of cigarettes out there in my wife's car in the CRV. And what the fuck is that? Okay. And there was only 7 cigarettes in there. That is not a half a pack. Half a pack is 10 cigarettes. That is 3 less than I had planned out for. Those would be the 3 cigarettes that I was planning on smoking in the morning. And now I'm down to 3 cigarettes total. Fuck. Anyways. Alright. Here's the thing. Let me just beat this horse to death. See that fucking truck? That is horrible. Okay? Look at that. You make that out well enough just to see how far forward the cabin is and everything, right? What happens when that crashes? Okay. That bottom part kills whoever it hits, and the driver's just gonna die for a lot of reasons. Okay. Now, all right. I'm trying not to show the whole fucking thing here. But, yeah, basically, Honda CRV like front end. Okay. And the cabin. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this. So don't steal my fucking design. Because you don't know what I'm doing here. This might look weird to you, but I have purposes for this. Let's see the step in right there. There's a body line that comes in like that. And then another line through the door right there. And then this is a crumple zone. Okay, this is designed to right here you'd want to cut. Okay, don't have this one big piece, have this multiple pieces. Okay, and have this rubber mounted firmly back here, and then softly right there, and have a crumple zone in here and separate crumple zones here, so that when a small vehicle is impacted, this separates and it can deflect away from the oncoming giant 18-wheeler wheel. Okay, so kind of like rubber fingers sticking out in front of the car. That'll kind of deform and bend back and try to push the car out of the path of the 18-wheeler. And then this should be designed to smush like an accordion, kind of like the front end of an S2000. The frame, how they do that, how they have the boxes designed to smash accordion style. Okay. But on the sides, you want to have two focuses in mind, extra thickness between the sides here and the driver, and visibility. Okay. Because when a fucking 18-wheeler wrecks, especially in those multi-car pileups, the real danger to the driver of the 18-wheeler, if they survive the initial impact, usually comes from subsequent impacts causing T-boning, okay, or they T-bone to begin with, and then somebody sideswipes the T-boned 18-wheeler, okay? So that's an extra impact crumple zone on the side of the 18-wheeler driver, protecting them, as well as protecting anybody who gets a head-on collision. Now, what I meant by putting way too much thought into this is I've also thought of how do you keep them safe? How does this all come apart in a way that keeps everybody safe when you've got a heavy load behind it also smushing all that shit together? And basically what you have to do is build in hinges that never get used and have this thing designed to where it's kind of what's the name of that device? Like one of them things that goes like that, you know. But different ways. You have to make it to where the whole cab kind of goes like that as it squishes all together. So then the driver winds up getting elevated, and then whatever passenger car is squished right here gets the impact reduced. It doesn't just get this fucking squished right into him. And for the price of a few hinges where some welds should be, yeah. Doesn't seem like too bad of a deal. Anyways, oh, there's some fucking coffee in this cup right here. Oh. So, I know I shouldn't show my design, but one thing I always do is I never show my designs when they're complete. I got a whole different way of making fucking vehicle chassis in mind. That's a basis for that I'm not going to explain. But right now I couldn't even make a fucking go-kart if I wanted to, so I just got to focus on getting a little real estate flip together. Because without that, man, we ain't going nowhere. Unless somebody finds us a big investor. And then we got to get in real estate one way or the other anyways. But, oh well. The ball's already starting to roll a little bit. But my eyes are starting to roll in the back of my head a little bit too, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a broadcast. As far as the smoking gun, I would say it's been found, and they've been talking about it for some time behind closed doors. And that's what's got Trump all upset and shutting down the government over the wall and shit. He wants us talking about the wall. And he's trying to shut down the government to limit the capabilities of the Mueller probe. Plain and simple. Yeah. Yeah, just if Lightspeed is a thing out there, that'd be good to know. Easy checkbox to mark off as a problem solved. But Intergraph, just a feel for them, you know. I'm pretty sure they're one of the more secure companies on the planet. They used to be, but things change. I just want to know how they are these days. Mostly around changing ownership, but let's hope for the best, because I would like to involve Australia in as many manufacturing projects as I can. And I think, for instance, that there should be more exports of Australian steel that come as fully finished products as opposed to just raw fucking steel. I think, you want to talk about a nation full of fucking people who are generally clever people, they should be put to work building some clever shit for everyone else. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But what we're going to do is we're going to do things differently, but we're going to do it on such a massive fucking scale that people are going to want everything we do. That's the idea. Internet-worked, multiple businesses that complement each other in a lot of different ways, revolving around a large real estate presence. and the labor costs being high, is a model I'm going to be prepared for, because I'm going to intentionally overpay all of my workers here in America. So that should work out just nicely in the Australian market. But the idea is, in order to do something better, you have to realize what people are doing wrong. And when it comes to a given thing, if you want to say people are doing it wrong, but it's the way everybody's doing it, it's a high risk. Okay? And if I'm wrong, then, you know, we're only going to be like multimillionaires, not billionaires. Sorry. But my theory is that, and this is based on the first motivation of my conscious existence since I manifested as a being stuck to a tree, since I manifested from a weak point, just like and regrew myself in this way. It's a very weird reality I'm in right now. The first motivating factor of mine was industrialization is doing it wrong. Okay? The big factory environment. All wrong. Okay? And one of the keys in doing better is paying people more and finding ways to make things more efficient other than, you know, 5,000 square foot fucking facilities or 15,000 square, 50,000 square foot facilities. And just cramming as many fucking people as you can in there. Okay. There's a better overall business model that we're going to form all of our companies around. Okay, that I'm going to form all of my companies around. And basically I've got a few different friends picked out to run different companies, and then I'm going to be interviewing people to help them and then help start other companies and shit like that. But, you know, I got a lot of cousins and friends with cousins, and most of them have been to college for this and that, and quite a pool of people to pick from. And then there's all the people I went to school with. And a lot of them are actually pretty successful in what they're doing right now anyway, so I think there's a lot of people to network with. But anyways, in short, we got to get back to more motivated cottage business models. Okay? So, like, instead of having one factory produce like all of a product series, have different smaller factories produce individual variations on that product or whatever. There's a lot of different permutations of that, but you can. Let me put it this way. The first rule of business is never lower your price. Okay? If you have to lower your price, you're not doing your fucking job. Okay? Whether it's your salesmanship, whether it's your marketing, or whether it's the quality of your product to begin with. Never lower your fucking price. And if you're afraid to compete with people whose only business strategy is low prices, you got no business being in business in the first place. We're going to focus on communities, providing jobs, and building up those communities and making them better. And wherever our products are being sold, that's where they're going to be made. To what extent will vary. You know, we're not going to be making every part everywhere. There's going to be some places making different parts and shipping them here, and some place, you know. It's going to be distributed labor to a point, but only in some cases. It's going to be completely regionalized and localized labor in some cases. But the blanket corporate model of building a big fucking factory wherever you can find the cheapest. Yes, make Australia great again. Well, you know, technically, Derry, it's what I've been talking about the whole time. And like so many things, they basically stole my arguments and perverted them, didn't they? But yeah, what I want to do is sort of private civil engineering, you know, on the real estate side. Okay. And that basically is designed to both scout for and pave the way for and, you know, develop areas economically to make them conducive to setting up more factory type operations. But like, let's just take cars for instance. Okay. Let me try to keep it safe and think of one of the business plans that I could modify for other people that don't necessarily have anything per se to do with mine. Just something I could help the world with. And, you know, if I get in the car business later, best of luck to all of us. if you're, say, given country, right? Whatever. Say Yugos. You're in Yugoslavia and y'all build Yugos. Okay. But in your country, in Yugoslavia, just like in America and most countries, not every town's got the same kind of roads. Usually it varies region by region. And usually that variance defines the region. And those regions have people in them that identify regionally. Do you think those people would prefer to buy a car that was built in their region or a different region? Obviously, their region. But that's not practical. So what do? Well, suspension, interior, paint, trim, accessories, and a local factory. Chassis and engine, wherever. Centralized. But are those people going to buy a Toyota? Or Ford? Or are they going to buy that Yugo? I never would have really bought a Yugo before. But man, this guy I went to school with, he's down there designing the fucking shock absorbers for those things. And man, you should have seen him. He grew up on dirt bikes and shit. He knows suspension shit. And he knows how bad our potholes are around here. You know what I'm saying? Fucking, it rains a lot around here. We always got this fucking muddy ass fucking bullshit in our cars. And the local fucking guy designs nothing but leather interiors with fucking rubber floor mats. They're gonna buy Toyotas and they're gonna buy them fucking, you know? Localize, regionalize. And put the name of the town right on the fucking car. And if you don't plan on building one per town, put the name of the region on the car. Make it part of the name of that trim model. You can employ a whole nother person just doing the titling and registration. You know, like the back end paperwork to make those cars register as a new trim level. As they're built. And see, me, I want to do this kind of on a franchise basis. I want to find that town with the fucking you know, used to be a 2 dealership town, and then one dealership bought the other. I'm gonna find that fucking family from the old dealership and see if they still want to be in the car business. Max, good morning, sir. All right, Neville, have a good day, man. So how you doing, Max? We've been loving your your songs that you've been posting. You're subscribed. You're one of the subscriptions on the living room TV here. Like, Max, brother, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to buy you a farm if I get rich, because we might just have to pay you to play the guitar all the time. Like, your style is soothing. If anybody gets a chance, check out Brother Max's YouTube videos, especially his songs that he posts, because he is a what I call a guitar composer. You know, there's like the technical guys who just like show off, and they've memorized so many different amalgamations of so many different little fucking things because they spent way too much goddamn time in guitar lessons when they were a kid, and their daddy brought them every day, and you know. And then there's like Kurt Cobain, who just makes fucking noises from the guitar that sound like your emotions and take you to places. And I think you got Kurt Cobain beat. I definitely I just fucking zone out on that shit, bro. It's nice. But then Kurt Cobain alone did not make Nirvana. Dave Grohl would organize the shit and make it into that rockin' jam that we know. Right? Well, you know, like when you get in a band, to some extent, the music starts to write itself. And then, when it comes to fucking Kurt Cobain in particular, then the demons start writing the music, you know? And it's just a different fucking thing. When, like, nature is writing the music than when, like, a fucking bitter feeling is writing the music. And there's a different addictive quality. And, you know, a deharmonized spirit is obviously going to find the deharmonized music more addictive. Whereas me, I like that nature-inspired stuff. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean. And you're probably the only one that knows what the fuck I mean. That's cool. If anyone else wants to know what I mean, go listen to Max's music. What's with the shipping container homes? Like, can we just not have this fad anymore? Like, oh, but it's such a good use of material. Last I checked, those things were still useful as fucking shipping containers, weren't they? Like, we still ship shit, don't we? Oh, it needed a couple welds? Oh, so you made a house out of it. Oh, okay. If you could make a house out of it, why couldn't it just, like, be repaired and ship stuff still? You know why shipping containers are made of metal? Because that's one of the instances that wood does not work for. At least not as well. But you know what can be made of wood? You know, being a biodegradable, renewable resource, wood, as opposed to metal coming from mountains and shit. Fucking houses. Houses can be made of wood. And that's better than shipping containers. And they don't look stupid. Because, I mean, it looks stupid. Like, everybody's trying to tell themselves, oh, look at the new fad. But it's really like, it's like when people told themselves a Prius looked good. No, a Prius never looked fucking good. You just wanted to see yourselves in the Prius so you could pretend like your fucking fart smelled like air freshener. I'm about to have to make a fucking 3 a.m. trip to Exxon just to get some damn cigarettes. Fuck. Like, it's just a fad. It's a bad idea, too. It's just a bad idea. It's like those resources need to be used for what they need to be used for. And, you know, you want to build cheap housing, get some fucking plywood. I don't know. You want your house to rust, use a shipping container. You want to have problems insulating it, use a shipping container. Like wood, I don't know if you realize this, but wood makes pretty good houses for a lot of reasons. It does not conduct electricity, for instance. Like what happens when a wire breaks on the inside of a wall at a fucking metal house? You know, like come on. You get roast college student, basically. Right. That's because of the carbon content. Carbon is black because it does not see red. Well, they can all suck a dick. Alright, see if I got another short. So I have to fucking cut the broadcast off right here. I'm trying to go to the store. I hardly ever get to fucking chat with Max anymore. Alright, two shorts that are really kind of pathetic. Hold on, let me check what's better. Oh well. That's what I got. I got 2 cigarettes in the pack that I'm saving for the trip to the store. Because I don't like having a fucking pack of cigarettes before I come back home. 1 cigarette to get there, 1 cigarette get home. Anyways. So even sheetrock, I think, sheetrock, fiberglass insulation. These aren't things that should be used in house construction. And I'm not a big fan of asphalt-based shingles either. But it's probably going to be what I'll be working with when we build our houses. Although I do like the extra insulative qualities of the corrugated roofs. And they kind of look more like clay roofs. Clay's the way to go, though. I don't know why, and nobody does. Let's see, where do we used to do this? In Italy, south of France. Mostly Mediterranean areas. Humid areas. You put a layer of copper underneath your clay roof, and the clay on top of the copper would condense water, and you'd have your gutters would be able to harvest water even when it wasn't raining. And I'm not entirely sure what people even use gutters for today, because they don't harvest water from them, but that's weird. Indeed. Right, clay is not a mountain, you know? Clay is just like really old shit, basically. And that's all it is. It's shit that grew into plants that turned back into shit, and then grew back into plants, and then turned back into more shit, and then grew back into more plants, and then turned back into more shit. And basically, the little rocks and stuff that you find, that's how many little rocks that all of those animals ate over time. Because they were drunk or whatever. Think about that next time you find in a clay bank where there's no other like gravel source around. Little bitty fucking pebbles. Might be the remains of some fucking ancient marsupial shit. Because it needed to eat little rocks to help it digest, or something like that. And it brought those little pebbles all the way over from a creek. But it wasn't even that. It was like, it hadn't even taken the shit yet, and it got eaten by a snake, and then that snake got eaten by a bird, and then the bird got eaten by a lion, and then the lion took a shit, and that's what made the soil. Now, some of those rocks might have just been stuck to somebody's shoes. Some of them rocks might have just got kicked there or fucking whatever. But when you do the math on poo. The disturbing results pile up. But yeah, it's better than moving mountains. Just think about like how much a dog shits in a year, how much you shit in a year, how much every different animal around you how much every animal around you shits in a year. Now multiply that by 12,000 or so. That's a lot of shit. Look around you. Isn't that about how much dirt there is? About 12,000 times the annual shit rate. That's how much dirt is not just small rocks. That's how much dirt is actually organic composted matter. About 12,000 times the annual shit rate of the indigenous population. Look at like a cow field, okay? If cows are fed bales of hay from a remote area for 10 years, that land's probably going to grow a couple of inches. And then they're probably not going to need to import hay anymore. And then over time, that carbon dioxide photosynthesis keeps on adding hay to the land, plant to the land. They'll get their supplementary alfalfa and shit like that, and they'll just keep on shitting. 10 years, another inch. 10 years, another inch. What I'm saying is the world is basically one big mountain of shit. We live in a world of shit, literally. It it cracks me up. No, but like, okay. You know that the universe is a silly place when basically the key to spreading life is just smearing shit around, basically. You know, you just got to make sure you poo in the right place. Well, the circle, the sustaining ecology and all that. It's all about channeling your poo energy. Channeling your poochie. Poochie, poochie, poochie. Channeling your Poochie. It's like feng shui, but different. It's like feng shui, but sponsored by Charmin. I mean, wait, no. It's like feng shui, but mixed with Miracle Grow. No, wait. It's like feng shui, but feng shit. You ever want to build furniture, Max? Like tables and chairs and sofas and shit. I find that fascinating. I've never been good at making like leather covers and you know, like the clothing and sewing side of things. Like, I like building like the wooden understructures of, well, really anything. Laney, you knew I was thinking about leaving, so you're here to crawl in my lap. Just in time to keep me from being able to do anything. Ah, Colbert made an upload 29 minutes ago, the clearest evidence of collusion yet. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it, sir. It's good to have just a couple of connections in all the right places.
Huge news in the Mueller investigation, thanks to Trump's former campaign manager and mattress salesman with a secret family.
Yep. Mattress salesman with a secret family. Yeah. I remember that news story. Is that in Cleveland or something? And that's how we got Drew Carey. Wait, what? I kid Drew Carey. It's just that if I could think of any comedian who looks like they used to be a mattress salesman, it's Drew fucking Carey. Customer walks in. Sir, are you okay? What? Are you okay? Oh, yeah, I work here. Isn't this a great way to sell mattresses? I figured what better way to make you want to buy one than for me to take a nap. Oh, pants. Oh. You're as overrated as having grapefruit for breakfast. Well, what's the other thing I need? Shoes? Yeah, shoes. Or hit the road. Well, I still got an inkling of energy left in me. Alright, brother. I got my 2 for the road, so it'll be a pleasant trip. And, you know, it's not too much to complain about because I get to drive my 2004 CRV. And despite the fact that it's got a little bit of a bushing clack, it's a fun little truck to drive. Nothing to complain about. Anyway. So thanks for hanging out, little brother. And thanks everybody else, anybody else, Neville, for chatting. Anybody else who's watching, anybody else who's watching in the future. And keep praying, people. Because it takes courage to do the right thing even when it's obvious. And, you know, these are Democrats we're talking about. So they need all the prayer they can get. Anyway, so don't forget to click the like button and